over to Joe Gallagher. Obviously, you all know who he is, but he is a boxing trainer and manager. Over to you.
Hi, Lindsay. How are you? Hello, everyone. Good evening.
Thanks.
Yeah, I'm promoter. Yes. What do you want me to talk about? What do you want me to say?
Talk about you as a trainer and a manager. What's the difference when you're working with your male clients and your female clients? Is there a difference? Obviously, bearing in mind that Natasha's on here, so if you say anything bad, she'll kill you.
No, I've just seen Natasha's mum's on here, so I've got to
Oh, that's even worse, yeah. So,
yeah, so
what's the difference there? And also what it's like to, obviously, you're obviously pro women, and like we said, we need male allies. What is the difference? Because you're obviously positive about the females in the sport, but you are very aware about the other side of it as well. So just tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, this one I was started coaching, amateur coaching 93, professional in 2001. There was a girl that did a little bit of coaching way back then, a girl called Martine Mitchell. You might know her, she does PR and all that. She's if you don't, she has a good entertaining social media anyway, Martine does, but she was an amateur boxer, did a little bit work with her, and that was it really, amateurs. And then when people suggested about women doing boxing, I'm not turning around and saying, oh yeah, brilliant at the time, having a daughter and all that. It's not being sexist. I was like, this is such a hard sport, not just the physical aspect of it, but as Natasha will most will vouch later on, it's just the mental side of it, the politics side of it, the business side of it is what really can get you down as a male or as a female. When I had the opportunity, when Natasha came and asked me to coach her after her Olympics and Commonwealth Games, we had a trial. It's mad to think now I gave Natasha Jonas a trial, but that's what we do in the gymnasium, giving an Olympian a trial. Wow, I should have been shot there and then. But yeah, she had a trial, and I just thought her discipline, her attention to detail, her work ethic, and a desire absolutely shone through. And I've said in many press conferences over the years that I wish I could train 10 Natasha Jonases, but it was also getting her to work and grow in a male environment. Natasha's the only female in the gymnasium. We've had females that have come in the gymnasium since. I think we've seen Rihanna Dixon on there before as well. She's fighting for a title. And then slowly but surely, you've seen the growth of women boxing. Obviously, Natasha being the first one to qualify for Britain for the Olympics, the first female to represent Britain at the Olympics, and also Katie Taylor. They're really the two big people of this era that really absolutely has pushed female boxing forward. Before that, obviously, we had Jane Couch, obviously, that took the board to court to get women the right to be able to box professionally. Obviously, our own Stacey Copeland, she had a career switch from football to boxing and done well, and she's doing very well in the media now. But as far as Natasha Jonas, it was interesting to get her working alongside the male, and then obviously to do the different types of training. People will say, oh, does she train different to the men? And it's like, no, she doesn't. There is times that she doesn't do some things that the men will do. She'll vouch for that, like the bar bag and stuff like that. But it's just understanding that the mentality of it as well. I think another thing was pay, and pay still is a huge factor for female boxing, as good as it is. And Natasha's last fight with Michaela Meyer did unbelievable viewing figures here in the UK and the US. But I do feel Natasha almost have something else to say. I do feel the pay still needs to have to improve, because I feel that the likes of the TNT Sports, Sky Sports, and the promoters, Boxer, they try to get a premium main event, but only pay half the cost and what they would do for male boxing. So that's something I'm sure Natasha will say that I keep bending her ear about, and that the pay and the pay for female boxing should be better. People try and liken it to the tennis, to female tennis, and they say, well, the male tennis do 5 sets, the women do 3 sets, the men do 12 threes boxing, and the women do 10 twos. But I still do feel the pay increase is something that needs to be worked on. Reflecting back on Natasha and what she's done and what she's achieved, and then my academy, the Joe Gallagher Academy, there now, the amount of girls that's on that academy. We have a girl that travels in from Leeds every day. She boxed last night at the trainer. She just won a national title. We've had Paige Howarth. We've had Liv Holmes. We've had some really, really talented girls coming through the academy now. And the thing with women's boxing, it never had the depth in the weight divisions, but it is doing now. And I'm sure in 4 or 5 years' time, once these girls, Cindy, who's out of Bolton, she's at an Olympic qualifying event at the moment, she's got to be a superstar. And these proper 14 to 17-year-old girls in 5 or 6 years' time, they'll be able to pick up the baton that Natasha and Katie Taylor set off with. But like I say, it's hard, but it's the business side more than anything else. That's the hard side now. Natasha's broke down many walls. She does very well with her contracts, with a talent contract with Sky presenting, and she knows what she's on about. But I still do feel my main bugbear is female boxing and the paying female boxing. And if you're not strong, they will take advantage of you. And that is something me and Natasha have gone through. And it's, I think, something that Natasha advises lots of female boxers now. Natasha's like the go-to person to go to, that they'll pick up the phone. And we're not just talking about beginners here. We're talking about proper fighters that fight for world titles, people that are world champions, female world champions, that'll phone up Natasha for her advice. And Natasha's always on the end of the phone with that. But I think female boxing, when I was out in even Saudi Arabia there in January, I went to the national championships, which is similar to the ABAs here. And I walked in and there was 12 bouts of women's boxing, all different weight categories, and the talent was very good. Now you try and tell that to somebody over here, that Saudi Arabia, that women's boxing is flying, they won't believe it, but it's everybody's perception of that area. And as you can see this weekend, the boxing that's there, but there's a huge movement over there in Saudi Arabia to empower women and women in sport, which is at the paddle championships there as well. And women boxing will be the next big thing. We've just had Clarissa over there in PFL, and it won't be long now before there'll be a huge female headline act that will showcase over there in Saudi, and that speaks volumes for where female boxing is now at the moment.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Joe. Has anybody got a question for Joe? Click on your computer or put your hand up. Kate?
Oh, go on. Thanks very much for that, Joe. Were you shocked, actually, sort of living the experience when you were with Natasha on that, the pay, the equality gap? Is it something that you're aware of before? And did your perception change, obviously, when you're with Natasha closer?
Yeah, I think people always say I'm a bit too emotionally attached to my fighters. And then when I have someone like Natasha Jonas, and she's a mum and she does a great job with her daughter, Amelia, it's my responsibility as a parent having a daughter to sort of like look after Natasha in that type of way. And that's what I try and do. But when I went to the promoters and we spoke about Natasha and pay, we were always thinking it'd be like male pay, and it wasn't at all. And some of the pay that Natasha got and what she was offered, if it was to be revealed, and one day maybe if Natasha did a book, I think people would be quite shocked in what was suggested and what was proposed to her. But you can sit down and play the victim, or as like Natasha, you can get up and go and change things and do something about it. And that's what Natasha has gone and done now. And like you say, she headlined there at the Liverpool Echo Arena, and she did a fantastic job with Michaela Meyer on both sides of the Atlantic. But yeah, I was really surprised on the pay scale regarding women's boxing. Yeah, I really was.
I think you're on mute, Lindsay.
Just by the way, bossing it, I like the content, and I like your content, I like your stuff. I see it every day, so keep up the good work and stay positive and motivated. And yeah, you're doing good work. I see what you do.
Oh, thank you very much, Joe.
That's good. Sorry about that. I've been in and out. Melissa got a question. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm curious. I want to just kind of touch on the Saudi Arabia thing. You know, we've had only one female fight in boxing. That was Rama Ali, like a year and a half ago. They seem to really want to be big players in the sport. They had that huge all heavyweight card, but for women it has been zero. Clarissa Shields did have the first MMA fight. She was on the bottom of the card for the PFL Bellator, which was brilliant. But do you really see that Saudi Arabia will, as paying as a promoter for bringing boxing, big time boxing, into Riyadh? Do you really feel that they will start to invest in women's boxing as well and begin to headline and have, you know, both at the top of the card and undercard fights on those big cards?
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, for sure. I think so. The feeling over there when I've been in His Excellency's company, that's definitely, like I said, yeah, there's a big movement there to empower female boxing, and the talent that they've got themselves, they really want to bring their own through. And the 17, 18-year-olds and the other ladies that were boxing there's some talent there, and you'd be quite surprised how good they really were. And His Excellency wants to bring Saudi's own females through. And I'm sure we'd most probably see a headline act, whether it be Michaela, Mike, Clarissa, Natasha, Katie, but an undercard of their own fighters as well. But definitely, it isn't just a case of if it'll happen, it'll be when it'll happen. That for sure will 100% definitely happen.
Thank you, Melissa. Thank you so much, Joe.